Hey everyone, what's going on? I am DB and I'm here to give you 5 tips to ace your next software engineering interview. What makes me qualified to give you any interviewing tips?
I'm a certified crazy person.
But in all seriousness, I have about 2.5 years of software engineering experience at a FANG company. I also have 2 years experience teaching at the college level, data structures and algorithms, as well as operating systems. Plus, I've also got a handful of interviews under my belt that I've given at my company, so I'd like to share some tips that can help you ace that interview. That was incredibly corny. Don't forget to smash that like button down below. I want to see 3 likes on the video so I can call my mom so she can tell me how proud she is of me. With that, let's go ahead and get into the content. Tip number 1. Anytime you go on to an interview, it's going to be really important for you to think out loud. This is probably one of the most important things that you can do in an interview, and it's going to help you in a lot of ways. One, by actually putting your thought out there verbally, it's going to allow the interviewer to hear what's going on inside of your head. And no, I'm not calling you a crazy person. It's literally going to let them hear what's going on between your ears. And it's really, really important because this is going to give them a chance to hear your thought process, assess if it's correct, and help you if they need to step in to help you. This is why talking during the interview process is so crucial, especially being an interviewer myself. It helps me a ton to find out what you're thinking about. So if you do go off the rails, we can get you back on those rails and get you to the answer that you're looking for. Tip number 2, make sure to turn your interview into more of a collaboration than an interview. Now, this can sound weird, but if you look at your interview as an actual collaboration between you and your interviewer, 1, it might seem a little less intimidating, but 2, the more you actually collaborate with your interviewer, the more hints and answers you might actually be able to extract out of them. Let me give you an example. So say that someone actually gives you an array and they say the array is full of normal numbers, let's say integer values, and they want to actually have you print the values from smallest to largest. The first thing I would do in this example is do something along this lines. So I'm going to assume that the array is not sorted. The first thing I'm going to do is sort the array, and then I'm going to loop through the array, printing out each of the values from smallest to largest. Here comes the really, really big collaboration moment. I'm going to ask the question, does that sound correct to you? Here's what that does. It does one really important thing. Well, actually, 2 really important things. The first thing it does, it allows the interviewer to take a look at all of your plans, assess them as you laid them out, and give them an opportunity to respond if that sounds like it's a good plan. And if they respond, yes, that seems like a solid plan, then you can continue forward knowing that the interviewer agrees with your approach. 2, it allows you to confirm your inner thought process to see if it's something that would actually work. And you can actually kind of get a better understanding if this is the best path forward for you. Now, there's going to be another section too that we're going to talk about with like efficiency and all that stuff, but we'll get to that next. But that's why I just wanted to make sure that we talked about how important it is to sit down and actually talk to your interviewer about your plans. And now that we've hit upon the word plan, let's talk about tip number 3. Plan out your solution before you actually start coding. Now, this part is also really important too. A common mistake that many interviewers make is when they start to hear the problem, as soon as they feel that they understand what the problem is, they're going to dive in and start coding. This is a huge mistake, and this is something that you want to avoid doing. It might seem like a fantastic idea, like once you feel like you understand the problem, to not waste any time to get to the solution that you know how to get to, but you might run into some pitfalls. So sometimes you might not have all the information that you need, or a problem can sound like a problem, but actually be something completely different. So what you want to do, and this is a good habit to get into, start laying out some pseudocode prior to actually coding. And it's good to communicate this to the interviewer too, that you're going to lay down your plans first before you start coding. So lay down your plans in a nice little ordered list. And then once you get to the bottom of it and you talk through it with your interviewer, after you both come to the agreement that you should start coding, or if they don't seem to raise any major objections to what you've said, that's when you want to start coding. So getting to the next point, number 4. Once you start coding, test your code. Test your code while you're coding. Test your code once you've completed coding, and test your code until you feel confident that your code's going to work. This is actually something that many people don't do during interviews, and it would actually help a ton because you can catch edge cases before an interviewer would actually call out those edge cases. You can actually catch bugs in your code before the interviewer actually tells you there's a bug in your code. And if you're able to catch a bug in your code before an interviewer can communicate that to you, that's going to get you some style points. And it's actually a really good habit to get into.
Don't make me come after you. Test your code.
Now, with that being said, let's get to the final point. Tip number 5. And that's going to be find a solution. I don't mean necessarily in the sense just find a solution to find a solution. What I mean is, let's say that you're given a problem that you know that there's an efficient solution to, but you might not know how to code that efficient solution. So let's say then you do know how to code the brute force solution. Well, then do the brute force solution. Why am I telling you to do that? Because if you have enough time in the interview and you're able to get a solution, getting a solution is a fantastic start. Communicate to your interviewer that you know that there's a more efficient solution. Lay that out to the best of your ability, and if you have time to improve it or they're interested to see that, then you can go ahead and go after that solution. But it's always better to get an answer than to not have an answer and struggle and end up with nothing at the end of your interview. Make sure to take the time to get an answer. Now, this part is definitely not interview advice, but what I do want to say to every single one of you who might have an interview coming up, good luck to every single one of you. I wish you the best, and I hope you crush that interview and get the job that you're looking to get. I know that it's difficult, and especially being on both sides and having done both things, being the interviewer and being the interviewee, it can be really tough. But you know what? I know that you got this. Go smash it. Practice these 5 tips and get good at them. Of course, you can do other things as well. Someone might be in the audience saying,
What about lead code?
Lead code is a fantastic tool to give you a good set of skills to go into practice for an interview, but these intangibles are going to take you a long way because it's going to help you set the foundation to get the answers that you need to get to, and ultimately, hopefully, bring you the success that you're looking for. Thank you everybody for visiting for today. I am DB. I hope you enjoyed these interviewing tips for software engineers. And other than that, I think that's all I got for you. So peace and chicken grease. I mean, I don't know. If anybody's still here, probably no one's watching this. So anyway, have a good day. Bye.